Title: My brother threw his birthday party the night before my wedding to spite me. My parents chose his party over my wedding, then showed up at my house at 4 a.m. to harass me. Subreddit: r/Enter the Angel. User: Throw R wedding drama. Let me start by saying I've always known my brother, 26M, was the golden child. But I, 28F, never imagined he'd sabotage my wedding, or that my parents would let him. Buckle up, folks. This is a ride. Background: My brother, let's call him Kyle, has a history of coincidentally scheduling things to clash with my milestones. Graduation party? He accidentally booked a Vegas trip the same weekend. Promotion dinner? He suddenly had a medical emergency, a hangnail, according to his Insta story. But this was next level petty. The wedding versus the birthday bash. My fiancé and I planned our wedding for October 12th. We sent save the dates a year in advance. Kyle's birthday is October 10th. Normally, he does a low-key dinner. Not this year. 3 months before the wedding, Kyle announces he's throwing a legendary birthday party on October 11th, the night before my wedding. Venue? A brewery 45 minutes from our wedding location. Guest list? Our entire extended family, mutual friends, and here's the kicker, our parents. I called Mom immediately. "You're coming to the rehearsal dinner, right?" Her response: "Oh, honey, Kyle's party is a big deal for him. He's been feeling left out since you've been the bride. We'll try to swing by your rehearsal after." Spoiler, they didn't. The day before the wedding. Picture this. My bridesmaids and I are setting up the venue while my phone blows up with Snapchat stories of Kyle's party. Dad doing keg stands. Mom toasting to Kyle's resilience. My cousin DM'd me. Your parents are here? Aren't they supposed to be with you?" By midnight, I'm in my pajamas, stress-eating gas station taquitos, when my maid of honor gets a call from the hotel. My parents never checked in. They were still at Kyle's party. The wedding day. I walked down the aisle alone, not by choice. My dad was too hungover to drive. Mom showed up 20 minutes before the ceremony in last night's clothes, reeking of beer. She spent the reception napping in the bridal suite. Kyle didn't even bother to show up. His excuse? "I partied too hard last night." You get it, right? 4 a.m. harassment. After the wedding, my husband and I crashed at our apartment. At 4 a.m., bang, bang, bang on the door. There stood my parents, red-eyed and slurring. "Mom, you humiliated us. How dare you make us choose between our children?" Dad chimed in. "Kyle's hurting. You've always been jealous of him. I lost it. You missed my rehearsal. You missed walking me down the aisle. You missed everything because Kyle wanted a party. And now you're here blaming me." They left after my husband threatened to call the cops. Kyle texted me the next morning. "LOL drama queen. It's just a wedding." The fallout. My parents haven't spoken to me since. Kyle posted a TikTok mocking my Bridezilla meltdown. Yes, with clips from his party. Meanwhile, my in-laws have been amazing. They even framed a photo of me walking alone down the aisle with the caption, "Strength looks good on you." AIGA for cutting them off. Because honestly, I'm done. Edit. For those asking why I didn't communicate better, I tried. For years, Kyle's antics were always excused as boys being boys. My parents' favoritism isn't new. They once skipped my college graduation because Kyle had a baseball game. Therapy helped me set boundaries, but this was a final straw. Edit 2. To the Redditor saying, "Family is forever, so is trauma." I'm prioritizing my peace. Relevant comments from the thread. NTA. Your brother's a narcissist, and your parents are enablers. Block them all. The 4 a.m. drunken confrontation is unhinged. Get a restraining order. Your in-laws sound like saints. Focus on the family you've chosen. Kyle's TikTok? Report it. Publicly shame him back. This belongs in our slash raised by narcissists. You're not alone. TLDR. Brother hijacked my wedding weekend with a spite party. Parents chose him, then harassed me at 4 a.m. I'm done with all of them. Story 2. My stepdad abandoned me in the hospital to go on vacation with my mom and his kids. So I called my dad, and now CPS is involved because my mom wants me to lie. Subreddit. R slash true off my chest. User. Throw r_hospital drama. I honestly don't even know where to start. I'm still shaking as I type this, and I feel like my whole life just exploded in the past few days. For some background, I'm 16F. My parents divorced when I was 8, and my mom got primary custody. My dad lives in another state, so I mostly see him during school breaks or when I visit for a few weeks in the summer. My mom remarried my stepdad, Matt, when I was 10. He has 2 kids from a previous marriage, and ever since they got together, it's been clear that his kids are the priority. It's not like my mom outright ignores me, but when it comes to making choices between me and them, I always come second. I try not to complain because I know blended families are hard, but over the years, it's been little things stacking up. Like how Matt's kids get new clothes and expensive gifts while I get hand-me-downs or nothing at all. How they go on family trips that I sometimes don't even get invited to. How if there's ever a conflict, like his son's soccer game being the same day as my school play, I'm the one who gets told to be understanding while they rush off to support him. But what happened last week? I don't think I can ever forgive them for this. The hospital stay. I have severe asthma, and last week I had one of the worst attacks I've had in years. It happened late at night, and I had to be rushed to the hospital. I was admitted because my oxygen levels were really bad, and they needed to monitor me. My mom was with me at first, but then Matt called her. They had a family vacation planned, one that I wasn't even invited to. They were supposed to leave the next morning for a week at a beach resort. My mom told me she'd figure something out and stepped out to talk to Matt. When she came back, she looked really guilty and said that Matt was really upset because they'd already paid for everything and his kids were super excited. She said she'd stay if I really needed her to, but kept going on about how disappointed everyone would be. I told her I'd be okay. What else was I supposed to say? I could tell she wanted me to tell her to go. So she did. But here's the worst part. She didn't even make sure I had someone else there. She just left. At first, I thought she at least asked a relative or a family friend to come stay with me. But nope. I was alone. Completely alone in the hospital, and no one was answering my calls. I tried calling Matt, straight to voicemail. My mom? No answer. I even called my grandmother, but she said she was too old to be driving at night. I started panicking. I was scared. I was still struggling to breathe, and I was all by myself. The nurses were nice, but I just kept thinking. My own mother left me here like I was nothing. So I did the only thing I could think of. I called my dad. It was past midnight in his time zone, and he picked up on the second ring. The moment I heard his voice, I just started sobbing. I was so embarrassed, but I couldn't stop. I told him everything. How I was in the hospital, how Mom and Matt left, how I had no one there with me. He was furious. Like, I don't think I've ever heard my dad that angry before. He asked me for the hospital's name and said he was getting on the next flight out. CPS gets involved. My dad called the hospital and told them what happened. Apparently, they took it really seriously because not even an hour later, a social worker showed up in my room. She started asking me questions about my home life, and I was honest. I didn't even think about it. I just told her the truth. By the next morning, CPS was involved. A caseworker came and talked to me. And when I told them I had literally been left alone in a hospital overnight because my family didn't want to miss a vacation, they were horrified. My dad arrived later that day, and when he walked into my hospital room, I completely lost it again. He hugged me so tight and just kept saying, "I've got you. You're safe now." Then things got even crazier. CPS called my mom while she was on vacation. I don't know exactly what was said, but she must have panicked because suddenly she was blowing up my phone. First, she was apologetic, saying she didn't realize how serious my condition was, which is total BS. Then, when she found out CPS was involved, she switched. Now she was furious at me. She kept saying I was ruining the family and that I was overreacting. She said I needed to tell CPS that it was all a misunderstanding, that I asked her to go on the trip, that I was fine being alone. I told her no, I'm not covering for her. She started crying, saying Matt was furious because CPS was now investigating him too. Apparently, the caseworker wants to interview Matt's kids to make sure there's no other neglect happening. I don't know what's going to happen next, but my dad already told me I'm not going back there. The aftermath. Right now, I'm staying with my dad. He's already talking to his lawyer about getting full custody. He said he will not let me go back to a place where I'm treated like an afterthought. Mom keeps texting me, switching between "I'm so sorry" and "I can't believe you're doing this to me." She keeps saying, "You're blowing this out of proportion and families don't call CPS on each other." But you know what? Families also don't abandon their kid in a hospital to go sip cocktails on the beach. I don't know what's going to happen next, but I do know this. I'm done being the afterthought. I deserve better. And for the first time in a long time, I actually feel like someone has my back. Thanks for listening.